as he notices a new monster walking toward him, a skeleton warrior. It's an ordinary type, level 21, with 260 attack, 150 defense, and 3000 HP. The skills are pretty basic too, just slash and block. Since these guys have a bit more health, Subai decides it's a good chance to test out his new skills. He waves at the skeletons, basically telling them to come at him, ready to see what his upgraded powers can do. The moment they rush in, he fires off a bunch of stone spikes that go flying straight into their skulls. Clean headshots. Each one drops instantly. 3 skeletons go down in one move, then for more than 6. No matter what he uses, every single hit lands as a critical, wiping them out in one shot. He starts laughing, totally enjoying himself. With over 3000 magic attack power, it's no surprise everything's getting deleted. Notifications keep popping up like crazy. Plus 500 XP, plus 100 bonus XP, again and again. But Subai's not done yet. He draws another magic circle, launches even more spikes, and says to himself that this is what real monster farming feels like compared to the early game. Soon, another notification appears, congratulating him for reaching level 11 and getting 20 more skill points. He remembers how, back in his previous life as a hero, even 10 points was considered insane for an F-class profession. Most people only got 1 per upgrade. Now he starts wondering if having 2 classes means even the skill points are doubled. He opens his panel and checks his stats. Strength 510, Agility 510, Constitution 510, and Spirit 820. Leveling up adds 10 points to everything, and he can't help but think that this X-level class might be even scarier than the so-called SSS level ones. Meanwhile, more skeletons keep coming from all directions. Subai doesn't even flinch. He fires another wave of stone spikes and then raises a stone wall, laughing to himself about how dumb these monsters are. He knows he'll need to find more quests that reward skill points if he wants to keep pushing his power even higher. As Subai looks up, a notification pops in front of him saying the collection of Skullfire, 1000 out of 1000, has been completed. The message also reminds him to turn in the task on time. The reward? 10 shiny new skill points. He smiles to himself, thinking that finally, one task is done, though there's still a long road ahead. Before he can even relax, more skeletons start crawling out of the shadows. Among them, he spots a much larger one, the kind of monster that just feels like trouble. The name floating above its head confirms it. Skullfire, an ordinary boss, level 48. Physical attack 1000, defense 800, and a massive 500,000 HP. The skill list isn't short either: soul absorption, sacrifice, stomp, and critical strike. Without wasting a single second, Subai raises his hand and launches another round of stone spikes. He laughs and says something to himself about how the more that come, the more fun this gets. His attacks tear through the skeleton army like paper. 18 go down in seconds, then 23, then another 40. The regular monsters can't even process what's happening. They keep charging, but every single one is getting deleted in an instant. At some point, even the boss seems to notice how bad things are going. The remaining skeletons start gathering around it, almost like they're having a quick team meeting mid-battle. Subai watches them closely, a bit curious. He wonders if this is some kind of special move, but then he reminds himself, with his infinite magic power, there's nothing they can really do against him. A few moments later, he realizes what's going on. The skeletons aren't retreating, they're sacrificing themselves. The more they offer, the stronger Skullfire becomes. Subai's expression shifts from confident to intrigued. He mutters in his head that this might actually get interesting. It seems like the boss is preparing something huge, something dangerous enough that even he might need to stay on guard. Still, Subai can't help but find the situation a bit funny. He thinks that the boss should have probably tested a few smaller attacks first instead of jumping straight into the big one. Now that all its minions are gone, it's all or nothing. He grins, feeling that mix of danger and excitement, and says with a smirk that he's ready for whatever comes next. He quickly activates his levitation skill, getting into position as the ground starts shaking. The air around him fills with energy, and Subai prepares to counter whatever move Skullfire is about to unleash. Subai keeps hurling spike after spike, each one slamming straight into the boss and chopping away another 5000 HP at a time. He doesn't even think about stopping. He's grinning, enjoying every second, telling himself that it's not over yet. The boss, on the other hand, is starting to look annoyed. It's taking hit after hit, but it's still holding back, waiting for the right moment to use its ultimate move. It seems confident that when that moment comes, Subai's done for. Subai can tell what it's thinking and laughs to himself. He says something like, "Trying to provoke me? Fine. I'll give you another round. Then, without a hint of hesitation, he leaps high into the air, straight toward the giant skeleton's head. While mid-air, he thinks about how convenient his skills are. None of them are charge-type martial arts, so he doesn't have to worry about cooldowns at all. He can just keep spamming them as much as he wants, and later, his next spike smashes right into the boss's skull, landing a clean headshot that knocks off a whopping 20,000 HP in one go. The boss lets out a furious roar, but it's already too late. Subai mocks it a little in his head, saying that maybe if it had relied on its own strength instead of sucking power from others, it could have lasted a bit longer, but now it's just another pile of bones. Moments later, the boss collapses completely. The massive skeleton bursts apart and rains down into fragments all around him. A glowing notification appears. Congratulations! You've reached level 12 and earned 20 skill points. Subai dusts himself off, smiling, and says something like, "So the second mission finally shows up, huh?" Around him, small skull-shaped flowers start rising from the ground, glowing faintly. Then another notification pops up. Collected, Bonfire Long Sword. Followed by another one. Collected, Skill Book, D rank Undead Summoning. That definitely catches his attention. He stares at the skill book and wonders what kind of ability it unlocks. Without wasting any time, he spends 10 skill points to learn it. A new message flashes in front of him. Congratulations! You've learned D rank Undead Summoning. Effect, summons 3 skeletons from nearby corpses. Subai nods in approval, finding it pretty interesting. He decides to test it right away, and as soon as he activates the skill, the ground starts to rumble. A few skeletons rise from the remains of the fallen enemies, but this time, they're not here to fight him. They're here to fight for him. He checks their status window out of curiosity. Name, Skeleton Warrior Type, Melee Attack, 500 Defense, 500 HP, 6,000 Skills, / Block Duration, 30 minutes. Seeing them line up in front of him like a small army, Subai folds his arms and looks at them with a mix of pride and curiosity, already thinking of all the ways he could use this new skill in battle. Subai looks at the panel and realizes there's no fixed level for his summons. Their strength is based entirely on his own stats. He figures that makes them about as powerful as level 40 monsters, which is honestly pretty impressive. With that kind of backup, he thinks he could just sit back and let his new skeleton army handle most enemies for him. Feeling proud, Subai watches his skeletons line up neatly in front of him and laughs to himself. He thinks that while these summons might not be much help in a one-on-one duel, in a big fight they definitely shine. To test them out, he orders them to start picking skull flowers since that's what he needs for his current quest. While the skeletons obediently go about their task, Subai strolls around casually, enjoying how much easier things have become. A notification soon pops up telling him the flower collection is complete and that he's earned 10 skill points. He grins, feeling satisfied, and thinks to himself that it's nice to sit back and enjoy the results of someone else's hard work for once. He even feels a bit generous, deciding not to overwork his skeletons. After all, they've just been brought back from the dead. Later, he reaches a new area called Death Swamp. The place looks grim and full of fog, and he wonders if the strange creature moving in the distance could be his next possible summon. Without wasting time, he orders his skeletons to attack. They rush forward while he supports them from behind with his magic. The battle ends quickly, and Subai notices a new entry in his log, a skull-horned lizard with decent attack and defense stats. He studies the details and feels pleased with the result. As another message appears saying his summoning the dead skill has leveled up, he becomes curious about how far this ability could go. He wonders if, one day, he might not even need to fight personally anymore. His army could do it all. Just then, some movement catches his attention in the mist ahead. Subai senses something interesting happening and decides to investigate. He mounts his new skull-horned lizard and rides toward the unknown.
Thanks for watching. I'm going to see you next video.